Leaders are readers. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. I'm Gene Zanetti, your coast-to-coast mindset coach from Winning Mindset. Leaders are readers. You know, I've heard it said that top executives and business owners, they read 52 books a year on average. So in other words, they read one book a week. So you got to make sure you're constantly consuming information. It's a virtue. Studiosity is a virtue. We need to be studying. We need to hone in on our craft. Whatever we want to be good at, we got to study it. And it's important to know the history. I remember being in school as a student and say, history is not that important. Like, why do I need history? Well, we need history because the best way to understand because we use history to understand the past and predict the future. And if we don't understand history, we're likely to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over, right? What's a great description of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. Well, how do we prevent that from happening? We need to know our history, right? We need to know, even if it's a sport, how did our sport evolve? What were people doing? What were techniques people used to use? What are they doing now? And why the difference? And is there anything we could learn from past generations? You see, we have a very, in our society, in our culture, we're very arrogant to think, because we came after these people, we must know more than them, right? Former athletes, what do they know, right? We're at a more advanced stage now, right? We've been doing this longer. It's a later generation. It's a different era, right? That's a very arrogant thing to think that, yes, there are certain things that we have better now and different technologies and we benefit from their knowledge, but to think that they don't know anything and to think that we're automatically better, like ipso facto, we're better than them because we're coming after them, that is a huge mistake to make, and it's massively arrogant. So we need to understand the history, and we need to be learners, right? So the most successful people, they're pumping information. They're studious. So one way you could do that, one way you could get information is by reading. But there's a lot of garbage books out there. There's a lot of books out there that really they're not teaching you anything new. They're not teaching you about the history. A lot of times it's just, garbage philosophies. So we wanted to make the stuff easy for you. So for mindset, I wrote this book, Building the Predator Mindset, how to develop the predator mindset and exactly what it means to think like a predator and how to overcome the prey mindset. So the prey mindset, you'll see in here, the prey mindset is our biggest foe. And the word foe is an acronym also for F-O-E. So you're going to see what that's about in the book. You're going to learn the 3 ways how to think like a predator. What exactly should you be focusing on, especially on competition day, right? It's all here in this book. Great stories, top athlete examples, and everything you learn in this book you could apply to real life. Okay, you could apply to, obviously you're applying it to sports, but you could apply it to school, to business, your career, and to your entire life. So leaders are readers. You got to be pumping information. So not only do we have books, because I get it, not everyone likes to read, right? Well, we have a podcast where a lot of times you're on the way to class or you're in the car, you're traveling, you're online. You could listen to the podcast. We're pumping out information on our podcast. We're updating our podcast almost every day. Same thing with our YouTube page. We're updating our YouTube page almost every day. So some of you like YouTube, some of you like podcasts, some of you are old school like me, like a good hardcover book. Well, that's what we have right here, right there for you. All great information. And one of the things you're going to like about this book is not only does it describe the predator and prey mindset and talk about some of the great stories, top athletes that we've seen and what strategies they use, great psychology research, so scientific research is in this book. Also, we've worked with tens and thousands of athletes over the years. These are personal accounts that we've seen some of the top athletes in your sport, what they've done to overcome nerves, what they've done to relax under pressure, secrets that are all brought together right here in an easy-to-use format. So again, you might like our podcast. Make sure you subscribe to it. You might like our YouTube page. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you subscribe. So every time that we put out a new video, you get a notification. You get an alert. You want that. And again, like I said, the book. And this book is great. One of the great things we have about here, we have a glowing testimonial from Lance Berkman, 6-time All-Star. Okay, a lot of people don't realize this, but we work with his baseball team in Houston, Texas. So him, Lance Berkman, and Andy Pettit, 2 borderline Hall of Famers in professional baseball, they're now coaching a team in Houston, Texas. We work with the team. Listen to this unbelievably solid review that he gave us of this book. He said, "Thank you for putting together great material about developing the proper competitive mindset. We need more mental strategies like the ones that you outline in your book." So he read the book, he reviewed it, he liked it, he was kind enough to give a testimonial. He's a great guy. Him and his team, they're doing great things, but it's about getting our mind right. So we have to consume information. So ask yourself that question. I think the question we all need to ask ourselves today is, how am I consuming information? Am I consuming enough information? Or do I kind of arrogantly assume that I know it all, right? We're not going to get it all by ourselves. You got to be reading. You got to be listening to podcasts. You got to be listening to YouTube. When you're at practice, you got to be asking questions. When you're sitting in class, it's not good enough to just be sitting in class. You got to be in the front row. And it's not good enough to be in the front row. You got to be asking questions. So in other words, there's always small practical steps that you could be doing on a regular basis to get better. So in class, the predator student is sitting in the front row. They're asking questions. They're staying in for extra help. They're going in early. They're staying late. They're doing extra credit. They're asking their teachers proactively, is there anything I could do for extra credit? If there's a paper that's due, they're bringing that paper to the teacher a week in advance and saying, here, I did this paper. Is there anything I can improve before I turn it in next week? To get that edge so the teacher can possibly help you make your paper even better. A college student is going to the writing center. They're going to their professor's office hours, asking questions. So that's being a predator student. Are you doing that? If you're in work, if you're in the workforce now, if you're in sales, if you're in business, are you going the extra mile? You know, I saw a great quote yesterday by, oh goodness, I forget who it's by now. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, Napoleon Hill. So Think and Grow Rich. He said, if you do more than, if when you're working, I'm going to butcher this, that's okay. If you're doing more than you're paid for at work, eventually you'll be paid more than you work. The essence of it is basically, if right now you're going above and beyond on the job, you're going above and beyond what you're being paid for on the job, eventually you're going to be paid above and beyond what you're actually doing. So it's investing in yourself, it's investing in your future and going all out, whether it's sports, school, or life. But you got to be soaking up information. You got to be a sponge. So like I said, this book, How to Build the Predator Mindset, sports, in school, and in life, you want to read it, you want to reread it, you want to give this to family and friends, because you know why? You want everyone speaking the same language. So we've built a great support system with Team Zanetti, with Team Z, and with our Winning Mindset family. It's not us only knowing the information, okay? It's our wives knowing this information. It's our parents. It's our siblings. It's our community around us. They're understanding what it means to think like a predator and to avoid the prey mindset. So when I start veering off course, my best friend can correct me, or my brother could correct me, or my wife could correct me, or my dad could correct me. Hey, are we predator or are we prey? Are our eyes on the front or our eyes on the side? So you want the people around you to be speaking the same language. You want them reading the same books that you're reading, because it's going to reinforce the message that you're getting. This is one of those books. Okay, certain books are things that you really want to make sure that other people are reading that also, so you're getting a consistent message from all the people around you. You want to hold each other accountable. That's what champions do. Remember, leaders are readers. Get the Predator Mindset book, and mindset makes the difference.